we're sitting here with Steve McBrian from the Crunchy Western Boys, a very popular band hereabouts. And let's see, we've got the first album.
Indeed, the self-titled release.
So, what's different between the two albums? You think the major difference? The later album, Rumorville.
I'm on the second one. I sing vocals on this one, but I play bass on this one. Our former bass player took care of the duties on the first one, and Morris was coming close to finishing that one up and decided that it would be easier to have me come in and sing the vocals of the tunes that I already knew and that I've been doing with him forever, rather than take time to teach someone in the band the vocals. So I just went up and did them in an afternoon. So
great. So you said it's 20 years, right?
I've been with Morris anyway for at least 20 years. We used to be in a band called the Regular Einsteins, which was...
Oh, I heard of that, yeah.
We played out a lot around here. We even got signed briefly, sort of, kind of. And then it all fell apart because we didn't get along.
Okay.
Yeah.
No fist fights though, right?
No fist fights. That comes later.
So were there other names for bands that you've been in since then?
Well, we were in, at the same time, Morris was in the Chinese Cooks, which is a very popular band around here. At the same time as that, I was in a band called Dumbwaiter with a couple other guys from around here. Those two bands combined to make the Einsteins. When the Einsteins broke up, then Morris and I were in, what was it called? Valhalla Taxi for a brief moment, and then when
I'm loving these names.
When the keyboard player of that band left, we were sort of a power trio, and we became the Bettys.
The Bettys.
Just the Bettys. Yeah, that was one of my favorite bands until actually this one. We would do anything. We would, as a three-piece, we would cover, I'm trying to think of, these big epic tunes, but we just didn't care.
Cool.
It was fun, yeah. We had a good time in that band. And then our drummer moved to Austin, and damn you, Eric Hughes.
So how long has the Crunchy Western Boys been in existence?
The band's been in existence for, it's got to be going on 5 or 6 years, I think.
Okay. I know they've been very visible. You play at the town concert.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we did Plymouth this year.
Yep.
Actually, we did Plymouth last year, except they had us at the amphitheater down by the river instead of the gazebo.
Oh, okay. That's why I couldn't find you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I don't know why they don't use that more. That's a nice spot they have down there.
Oh, yeah? I don't know because it's kind of
next
not
to the
visible.
Town hall.
Oh, okay.
Down by Deriva.
Down by
where
Deriva.
I shot my baby.
You shot your baby.
A random Neil Young reference.
Yeah. So and you are the bass player.
I am. I've been in the band now for 2 years. So yeah, it's been.
You're the bass player, though.
I am the bass player.
And this is your portable bass.
It is. This is my bass.
Does it have a name?
No. People keep asking me that.
Really?
Yeah, and for a while it had a nose and glasses, little Groucho glasses plugged in down here. Cool. But they broke. So it's Halloween, maybe I can score another pair. So, no, it doesn't have a name.
I'll put the word out.
It's just a bass.
So is the sound much different than the full bass? It must be different.
No. Often they are. I spent some time looking at portable basses, and a friend of mine, Steve Abdu, turned me onto these. And if you're a touring musician and you're a bass player, or you play bluegrass, or you do any of those things, this is the bass they use because it doesn't sound different.
Okay.
There's no onboard electronics. It's just got a pickup under the bridge, just like a regular bass would have. And it sounds great.
Wow.
I'm continually amazed at how good it sounds. Because all the rest of them sounded like...
If you feel like playing, you certainly can do that.
I don't have it plugged in.
What sound will it make?
Not very much. It doesn't make much sound. It's just kind of anemic when it's not plugged in. But it is a great bass, and Yeah, I just didn't want a bass that sounded like an electric fretless, which I think a lot of these travel upright basses sound like an electric fretless. I already own a couple of electric fretlesses. What do I need another one for that just looks different?
Oh.
You know, I wanted one that sounded like an upright bass. Otherwise, I'd just haul around the upright bass. But
yeah,
that was and it wasn't, you know, it's a bit dear, but it's a real instrument. So,
it is. It's you can see it's nice, fine piece of furniture there.
It's an Eminence, so we put that plug in there for the guy out in Minnesota that makes them.
All right, cool.
Great basses.
So you were talking to me a little bit about the songs, which I'm fascinated by. And so, I mean, one of my...
What's your favorite?
Well, let's see. I'm partial to Turn.
Turn's a good one.
It makes me think of, you know, the issues that might be going on with these people.
Just
with
breaking up with somebody?
I'm like, you know, I hope they're doing all right now.
Yeah. Well, not that anybody's going to see this, but the first time we played on the folk show, New Hampshire Public Radio.
Oh.
We did a live performance on there, and one of the songs we played was Turn. And Morris, the guy who wrote the song, was listening to it in his car, in his driveway, because he didn't have a radio in the house. And in his car was his future ex-wife. And that was the first time she'd heard that song.
Oh, no. I mean, it's pretty brilliant with the changes and, you know, the relationship to the words based on, like, driving.
Yeah.
And then he's going to take a turn, and you know. So what was her? So she probably wasn't too happy about that.
Well, if you knew her, she gave you one of those looks.
Well, you feel really bad for the guy, and you don't have much sympathy for the woman, and while listening to the song.
Just like in real life. At least in that particular instance. Sorry, Wendy.
Yeah. Well, you know. I hope they're doing all right, but
no, they were separated then, and even more so now. Yeah,
the turn was taken.
The turn has been taken.
Yeah, they didn't look back or turn around. What's one of your favorites on here? You sing the Weatherman.
I sing Weatherman, so I like that one. I like that song. It took me a while to kind of get the right vibe of singing that song. You know, it's because it's very. I'm always joking when we announce it on stage, no tundra was left undoubled. And so you want to bring that when you sing it, but it's kind of like, it's like an older tune. It's almost like a show tune almost,
Yeah.
And you want to send it over the top a little bit. You gotta.
Yeah, you do have to have a little bit of a showmanship in singing.
Yeah, so it took me a while to kind of get that vibe, and we recorded the track, and I had recorded a vocal line or a vocal for it, and we came back a few weeks later, and I'd been singing it live a lot, and so it changed, and we came back in one day and we were just listening to it when we were working on the record. Like that's gotta go. But he's like, you will come in, and I think I did it that afternoon. I just did it in one take. I just sang it over again, and I was like, there it is.
So did you go back to the original?
No, we erased the original and did what I've been doing in the live situation.
Yeah.
And then came back and sang those really high harmonies in the background. That was funny too. Morris calls me. He's like, "Come up this afternoon, do some background vocals, and maybe do some, backgrounds on Weatherman." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And he goes, "Because see if you can do it. If you don't want to, I'll do it." And I called him back like after practicing it, and called him back an hour later. I'm like, "Nah, you do it." And he's like, "No, I just was being nice. You have to come and do it." Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, they're weird harmonies. They're really high. And he's like, "Yeah, well, suck it up."
And you did.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you sing?
I don't sing lead on anything else, but I sing, if there's a background vocal on there, chances are I'm it or a part of it. Mm-hmm. Generally with the background vocals, I think I sing on every single song. I don't know if there's one that we don't do background vocals on. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously the instrumental.
Right.
Bell for Beauregard. But yeah, I mean, it's the usual recording thing. You go in, you record it. Usually double your part, and then Morris would add a part on top of it, or I'd add the other part on top of it. And that's just boring studio stuff.
So, and I get the impression that y'all live together, but no.
No,
I mean, it's just
no, I don't think any of us would be standing here if we all lived together.
Of you in the trailer, and somebody.
Have you seen the original photo of that?
Yeah, I have.
It's a great picture, and that painting was done by a friend of ours named Kirsten Carruth. Sorry, Kirsten. And she's a PSPU grad and an artist, and we saw her stuff, and just out of the blue, she saw the picture and was like, "How would you guys like a painting done of that?" And we're like, "Yeah,
that's an awesome painting, because you're sitting on the couch in front of a trailer with your instruments and Christmas lights,
and it's not posed. The sad thing is,
the best thing.
Is that little 14-foot trailer. Jim was living in it with his wife and 2 kids while he was building, and you can see in the background like a timber frame home. He's in that now, but he was building that at the time.
Oh, okay.
So he was living in that thing, and the couch that was not set up as a prop. We were rehearsing.
Totally. That's how you really rehearse.
We were rehearsing
in a couch down by the river.
Down by the river, yeah. See, now we have Chris Farley reference in there too.
There's a picture of the big bass, and we'll have to put that big picture up.
Yeah, that's that was early in my career. In fact, we were rehearsing because they were playing catch up with me learning all the tunes.
Yeah.
Because we
tend to start before.
We tend not to practice very often. We've been good the last couple of
I mean, you play a lot, though. You do private parties, and you're often down at Tony's?
We play Tony's and Thornton probably every couple of months.
Tony's and Thornton. Don't you come up here too? Play?
We almost sold out the Flying Monkey last November. We headlined over there. Cool. We'll be back again in November. I think the 17th, opening for Susie Bogus over there. And,
all right.
And then I think we're going to do another headlining gig maybe in February or something, and try to do that again. But that's one of the reasons we don't play around here. Selling out the Monkey was sweet, but you can't play all around here and then expect to do that again.
Yeah,
you got to draw the crowd. So the only place we really play around here is Tony's. And that's it. And Tony's is a great place, but and then we were named New Hampshire's Best Americana Band this year by New Hampshire Magazine. That was a fun thing. We got to play their show down in the Verizon Center, and for some reason we were the last band. Other than those the New Hampshire guys that sang the parody of the Jay-Z tune that was all over the internet, they went on after us to do that again. But and I was talking to a buddy of mine who is in the Conniption Fits, great little band, and he was asking me that night when we were setting up, and he's like, so the way I understand it is if you get chosen for whatever category you're a band, you start out playing in front of the place, and then every subsequent year you get chosen, you get moved up the line until you sort of headline it. And he looks at me, he explains this to his buddy, and then he looks at me and goes, so you guys must have won a bunch of times, right? And I'm like, no. I didn't know we'd cut in line, actually. Apparently we'd cut in line.
Yeah.
Because that was our first year. But it was a good time. And we've played not only, the Monkey, we play the Colonial Theater in Bethlehem. I've done that a few times. We've done the Middle in Franklin, which is the Franklin Opera House. We get around.
You're around a lot.
Before I joined the band, had been to Ireland 3 times.
Wow, cool. What is their take on your type of? Well, I mean, it's similar to their.
Oh well, it's not like it's not like you go. People ask, did you go play Irish music? It's like quite literally bringing coal to cork, as they say. I mean, why would you do that? No, we just go do
your songs.
They like it. In fact, there's a band over there that covers Bathtub Gin off of this record. They dug the song and they play it regularly now. Nice. And a couple years ago, back in 2010? No, in 2009, we won the band competition at the Northwest String Summit in Oregon. And we were the first band ever to be chosen to compete that were from east of the Rockies.
Wow.
And we won. And then next year they had us back on the main stage again, and that was a really good time. Really well-run festival, really nice people. It's sort of sponsored by the Yonder Mountain String Band, those guys. That was a very good time, yeah.
Great sounds, and just for folks who aren't familiar, by any chance, they haven't seen the signs around, Country Western Boys it's bluegrass, and it's a fusion of...
Yeah, I mean,
how would you describe it?
It's tough, that's a darn tough question.
I want to know.
Because we have that bluegrass instrumentation, okay?
Yes.
We have a guitar player, dobro, fiddle, mandolin, the upright bass, that whole thing going on. But we play, even live, mostly our own compositions. And some of these compositions, especially of Morris's, because I've been playing with them for so long, we've played them in a rock setting for years. They're not new. But for some reason, and it's funny, Morris and I were talking about it, it's not that I even play anything different, other than I'm playing it on this bass and not on an electric bass. But it all changes, and for some reason, it works. People really... They latch onto it. And one of my favorite moments with this band is, and I'd only been in it, since like September, and this was in October a couple of years ago. And we played, in fact, at Tony's. It was a Oktoberfest party. It was freezing cold in that damn tent that night. But anyway, the coolest thing was there was a great crowd, as always, at Tony's. And this is the first band I've been in where 75% of the crowd were singing along with the songs. They knew the words to the tunes, and they're not cover tunes; they're our tunes.
Yeah,
and that blew my mind. I've been in a lot of bands. I've played a lot of gigs, and that doesn't hardly ever happen. And that means they're listening to it. Yeah, and they dig them.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. I'm hesitant to try to explain it because I don't want to jinx it. But I think it's the combination of the fact that we do have.
It's patented. Secret.
It's right.
Secret recipe.
I'd tell you, but I'd have to kill you. It's just that we have that. We all come from a rock and roll place. Our roots aren't in country and bluegrass. I mean, we really like some of that stuff, but that's not where our heads are at. And like when I'm playing, I still hear the snare drum. I still hear the drummer, even though I'm the drummer now. There is no drummer. But I still hear that, and so that's the way I'm approaching it. And I think that's the way we approach a lot of it. We did an article with Cider Magazine over in Bellows Falls, and they made the observation, which I thought was at the same time cringeworthy and also observant, was that we had a classic rock sort of sensibility to us, which I knew what they meant. I just wish they hadn't used the words classic rock. But I know what they mean. We're approaching it from a much more high energy place. We played the Podunk Bluegrass Festival, and these things are different. I mean, bluegrass, no one dances. Everyone sits and politely listens and applauds and very much appreciates the music. But it's a different trip. It's not, the crowd's all going, ooh, whereas we, people at our shows, they dance. It's not a listening crowd. People get up and move around. Because
it's more danceable.
Yeah, and we're having fun too. And it's not, bluegrass tends to crawl up its own butt a little bit, and it becomes very buttoned down, and everybody's like wearing their uniforms and their clean-cut white starched shirts, and it's all very, very civilized,
very fiddle-oriented.
And it's got this attitude. The hardcore jazzers get it sometimes, where it's like, it's either the pure way or the highway, pal, because we don't want to know about it. And I always bring up one of my favorite Bill Monroe quotes, who's the guy who invented bluegrass. He said, well, I invented bluegrass so that I didn't have to do what everybody else was doing. And so when you get these bluegrass guys going, well, that's not traditional. And it's like, well, Bill Monroe invented this genre to not be traditional in the first place. So, why would you let it, why do you want it to be static? There's some great bands that are really pushing things forward. And, Crooked Still and the String Dusters and there's some really amazing bands out there that are taking this and going, and that's part of also that's the thing that's different with us too, is that a lot of those types of bands tend to be more focused on the soloing rather than the songs.
Ah, yes. Okay. Now that you mention it.
And I find that I find it tiresome, frankly. And maybe it's just that I'm old, but if you can't get it done in like 5 minutes, then let's move on. Next song. I got shit to do. And so I like songs. I like songs. I guess that's what I'm saying. I like songs with a beginning and a middle and an end, and a hook. Some sort of either an instrumental or a vocal hook. Something that when I get done, I'm humming it. Okay. Something sticks.
So that's what it is about, probably.
And I think I know Morris is a really great songwriter, and he writes a lot of the stuff, and Jim writes the other stuff on here, and he's also a really good songwriter. And yes, they have that, that you brought up, like Good Life. That's got a great little instrumental hook to it, and
it does.
Jim's, not to pick on Jim's songs, but She's Got Your Eyes. That's a beautiful song.
It is.
And it's really sad.
And I don't like beautiful songs.
Yeah, I know. Actually, we that was the joke. Jacob plays such a gorgeous solo on that song too, and we were mixing it, and I remember looking at both of them going, "It's gonna get you laid." This one right here. This is the sleeper hit. But
yeah, it is. It's
a beautiful tune.
There's a lot of good stuff on there.
Yeah, well, I think it's funny but the difference between these two records, and it's funny. The first one, I only do background vocals on. I didn't play on it, so I wasn't there, in the studio as much as I was for the second one.
Yeah.
In fact, I was there
for a day. First one being Jim.
Yeah. Or actually, it's just the Crunchy Western Boys.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
But I'm a fan of the record. So when Morris gave me a copy when they mixed it and were getting it ready to be printed to listen to, give it, just to have another set of ears listen to it, and I really liked it, and I had some distance from it, so I could listen to it as not as a band member, but and I really enjoy the record, and making this one, you tend to, I'm a lot closer to this one where by the time we got to the point where I heard that one. Mm-hmm. I'd heard this one 1,000 times,
I'm sure you did.
And but I still really like this record. But I think the difference between the two of them is with the first one, there's a couple of really big tunes on there that grab you, like the Crunchy Western Boys with the Bathtub Gin and the Natural Blonde. I mean, those are tunes that leap off the album. People grab them right away. They're easy and they're fun. And with this, the second one, I think it's a little bit more of a slow burn. Like instead of having people go, immediately latch onto that, I'll have people go, I've been listening to it a lot, and it's like, well, what's your favorite song? And they're like, well, it's changing. It was this, and now it's that, but I like that. I like that because number one, it tells me they're listening to it once. But there's, and we made, Morris especially did a really great job of producing and engineering this record, and he made it.
I noticed he did it, literally.
With the idea, it is in a bedroom.
In a bedroom.
There's a lot of little stuff going on in there. You can scratch the surface below those songs, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. There's banjo in a lot of them. There's if you listen to Dancing in the Living Room, there's a little percussion section going on. There's I forget what you call them, those large Celtic drums, very shallow. You
got some lists here.
Oh yeah, I think we actually put it on there, didn't we? It's a bodhran.
Bodhran.
Yeah, that's being played on there, and so there's all sorts of stuff going on
of instruments here.
But it's all kind of percolating below the surface,
I'll have to find a picture of the bodhran. You get the mandolin, concertina, shaker. I don't know what that is.
It's just a little egg full of
hounds, meaning
shot.
actual dogs.
Actual dogs. You hear them very at the top of the. That is Delilah and Beauregard.
Delilah and Beauregard. Okay, you didn't put the names in here.
No, Delilah and Beauregard. I didn't. They didn't do enough to get credit.
They're real dogs, though. It's not like somebody just barking away.
No, and they're real hound dogs. So
they're real.
That sort of thing. So that's another thing. If you listen very carefully, there's an obvious one right at the beginning of the record, and at the beginning of the first song, at the end of the first song, it's on purpose. But if you listen really carefully, you can hear them all over the record because they're outside while we were recording vocals.
Really?
Yeah. And so
they're buried in some.
They're buried in there. If you poke around and listen hard enough, you'll hear those dogs.
You guys got hound dogs. I think they go pretty well.
Yeah, no, it did.
And not a Chihuahua.
No.
I mean, which is why we brought this up earlier, that you're not from the South.
No, we are not
That's
from the
Jake.
South. No, as much
Crunchy
as
Western boys, you're not really Western Mass is what you mean.
right. I was in it before the name, but I'll take that.
Okay,
yeah, sure.
I don't know.
No, I don't know. People will give us occasionally the name. The name is interesting because people either like it or they don't. You know, and
I like that you spell boys correctly, not with a Z.
no, because we are not the because we would be boys from the wood.
Boys from the wood.
No. All apologies to John Singleton. We get that. Yeah, you're not from the West, are you? Or from the South? Like, you know.
Or from the South.
And Morris.
What are you?
I don't know.
Who grew you? I don't know.
I can tell you where the name came from. It came from fairly, inauspicious. It was.
Roots,
It was.
It was just there.
Jim used to host an open mic night in Thornton at the Sunset Grill, I believe. And this guy Wayne used to come in all the time. And at the time, Jim was a tie-dye wearing hippie dude. And Wayne was one of those guys who just always wore his cowboy hat wherever he went. And they used to go out on breaks, and they came back in, and the bartender there once, they came back in together, and he was like, oh, look at that, here comes Western Wayne and Crunchy Jim, or Crunchy Jim and Western Wayne, or something like that. And it just stuck. And I think, ironically, the night that the guy said that, I think Morris was there just sitting in with them. So it was half the band was there when the thing started, even though the band didn't exist then. The band came into being when Jim, who works up at Loon doing arts on the mountain in the summertime, heard that they were going to have square dances at the bottom, for the tourists and stuff. And all they were using was a boom box, and he thought that was fairly lame. And so this is classic Jim. Jim went, well, don't use a boom box. You should hire my bluegrass band. And the guy was like, great, that's a great idea. And so Jim got out of there and got on the phone to form a bluegrass band because he didn't have one.
He's like, oh.
Yeah, no, I believe he saw Morris walking down the street in Plymouth and stopped him, and he knew Dave from the former bass player Dave Walker used to play in Unbroken Chain, sort of a Grateful Dead cover band from around the area. Yeah. And Jim knew him from that because Dave used to get Jim into gigs when he wasn't old enough to get into gigs. And so he made a couple phone calls, and there it was. There was the band. And Jim being Jim, again, I think their first gig, he sold them as a band and a petting zoo. And so Jim...
What do you mean, a petting zoo?
Jim brought a goat, a couple of chickens, and one of his baby pigs, and then they raffled off, name the pig, and Jim...
So they were just like, I've got some farm animals, I got some music.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And then my favorite Jim story, though, now we're talking about Jim, is from Morris. And it was Dave, Jim, and Morris. And Jim, they maybe played 3 or 4 gigs together. And Jim's like, you want to go to Ireland? I got some dates booked in Ireland.
Oh, nice.
And so Morris is like, the most time I've spent with these guys is the plane flight from Boston to Ireland,
Let's get to know you.
Yeah, and he goes, we get there, we get the car, we have a gig right away. We get to the gig, and he goes, I'm not sure, this is Morris talking, I'm not sure what to expect. I figured these guys have been playing together for a while. So they get set up, they get on stage, and Jim looks at Morris and goes, so Mo, what are we going to play?
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Talk about winging it.
Yes, and that's when we've been doing that ever since. It's just, if you can't learn a song on stage, where can you learn it?
I guess.
Rehearsal is way overrated. Not.
Well, we're talking here with Steve McBrian from Crunchy Western Boys. Thank you for listening. And I don't know, did you have any closing thoughts, final thoughts?
I don't know, come see us.
Okay, we're still recording.
Yeah.
We got in this thing together, drove that baby hard, and we had some decent highway for a while. Yeah, don't that road get rocky, don't that road get rough, a little little damage done with every mile. Now we made the mountain passes, sped from shore to shore, burned every kind of bridge that we could burn. But forget about it, baby, you ain't done nothing wrong. It's just time for this wheel to turn. Now there ain't no simple road map to tell you where to go when the ruts get deep and all you do is spin. You can't rise above resentment for pettiness aside and drive out of that ditch you've driven in. We're gonna let the dents and scratches push the frame out of shape, and the lack of brakes could be of some concern. But forget about it, honey, you ain't done nothing wrong. It's just time for this wheel to turn. It's time for this wheel to turn, 'cause everybody knows hanging on out of habit is what wrecks it. I know you, rider, gonna miss me when I'm gone, but I believe we finally come to my exit. So goodbye, backseat lover.